Like I said, there was no anti-Haitian, laws, anti-Haitian hate laws. There was no mental health stuff, counseling, We just had to deal with it.
Straight to the top. Just put the stack on the clock. I am Rihanna as a shot. I'm going straight to the top.
Yo, what's going on, everybody? Mike Philman here with another episode of the Sports and the Real podcast. As always, of course, I appreciate you guys joining me and listening, watching YouTube, Spotify, wherever, Google, Apple Podcasts. Don't forget to subscribe and like, share. Tell your friends and neighbors, family about this thing. But again, I appreciate you guys, and I can't say it enough, the support I'm getting for this. So for those who aren't watching on YouTube, I have on a Indiana Pacers jersey on today of their young rookie star player, Ben, short for Benedict Mathurin. And actually, I had planned to do this episode. I was hoping to do this episode last month, back in May, because May is Haitian Heritage Month, and specifically May 18th is Haitian Flag Day. Benedict Mathurin is Haitian. If you take me back to my childhood, never would I thought that I'd be wearing the jersey of a young stud, potential all-star, potential to be one of the very best players in the league in a few years, and for that kid to be Haitian. So today's episode is really just a history from my perspective, from my lens of Haitians in sports, throwing a few other things in there. But my perspective, my experience as a young Haitian kid in sports. So my first, if we start back, my first experience, memory, my first memory of sports on TV in Haiti. So I was born in Haiti. My first experience of remembering watching sports in Haiti was soccer. I remember on Sundays, me and my dad used to watch soccer, and really the one guy that stood out the most watching TV in Haiti was watching those matches was Argentina and Diego Maradona. Diego Armando Maradona. He was like my first favorite athlete. He had the star power. He had the charisma. Even as a kid, this guy jumped off the screen. This guy was global. Soccer's a global sport, right? He was the global of the global megastar. I remember Diego Maradona. What I don't remember were really any Haitians playing sports on TV. I don't know if Haiti had a soccer league at the time in the 80s, early 80s. Honestly, the only name I remember hearing about growing up as far as a Haitian soccer player, and soccer is the country's, sport, right? It's Haiti's sport. Only person I remember hearing their name, and this guy was like the soccer player, like the best soccer player probably coming out of Haiti, was a guy they referred to as Mano Sano. Mano, short for Emmanuel Sano. He became pretty much world famous as the story's told. Well, not as the story's told, but as it's laid out in history, right? Haiti's only World Cup appearance in 1974. This cat scored 2 goals against the Italians. As I'm doing the research, right, the goalie for the Italians hadn't allowed a goal in like 2 years or something like that. It said 1,143 minutes. He hadn't allowed a goal. And Mano Sano scored 2 goals in the World Cup that year. One against Dino Zoff was his name, the goalie. Now, the Haitians lost the match. They didn't win a single match in that World Cup. But growing up, I remember hearing that name, Mano Sano. He was the gold standard for Haitian athletes, I guess, at the time, Haitian soccer players. As a kid, you're playing soccer in the streets or wherever, right, at school. if you're any good, it's like people today, kids today probably talking about, Jordan and Kobe. He was that. But really, Haiti didn't have any athletes to look up to like that. Haitians, right? Again, soccer is the sport, that we played in Haiti. It's the sport of the country, right? Haitians they didn't have nobody to cheer for. They didn't have a soccer team really to cheer for because they weren't that good. So really, Haitians are like fans primarily of Argentina, the South American countries, Argentina and Brazil. Like everybody knew Pele, right? He was global. But again, I said Maradona. And all the Brazilians that have come up, through the years, Haitians are fans of those guys. Recently, I feel like Haitians have become fans of, France. Now, we have a history with France. As some of you may be aware, Haiti has a bit of a history with France. And I'll get into that in a bit. But because France now has really, there's a lot of Africans really that make up, probably a majority Africans making up the France national team, World Cup team. It's like, okay, more Haitians like, okay, well, we can be fans of those guys. So Kylian Mbappe with African roots. Paul Pogba, who is like LeBron James on cleats for those who don't watch soccer. Big, tall, strong cat, controlling the middle of the field. And several other really skilled dudes, right, with African heritage. So now Haitians, are, more friendly towards wanting to be, fans of the French national team. But prior to that, Haitians weren't really, for the most part, feeling, France like that for obvious reasons. We gained independence from them in 1804. But despite gaining the independence, they made us pay them reparations. So we had to pay them. We owed them money for them enslaving us. And that really, to give you a quick history lesson, that along with the United States essentially putting an embargo on Haiti, right? Essentially restricting anyone else from trading with Haiti, that essentially set the stage for Haiti becoming what it became when I grew up born in the early 80s and what it is now, meaning lack of financial security, poverty, like everything you see happening now, crime, all that stems back to that. Right? So people see the current state of the country, but they don't know the history. So since 1804, and Haitians love to claim that as their independence, but since then, external forces have had their hand on the necks and their foots on the backs of Haitians in Haiti to make it so that they can't today have a legitimate soccer program. It's not because they're not skilled and not talented athletes, as we'll get into, but the funding isn't there. The finances aren't there. The infrastructure is not there. So I already talked about France making us pay them back for them enslaving us and us kicking them out. Napoleon. But since then, the U.S. has had a hand in things. I don't know if many Americans know this. The multiple invasions of Haiti. Several times the Marines have invaded Haiti. Once they went in, took Haiti's gold. That gold, and I think the New York Times did a piece on this recently, a documentary on this recently, last year it might have been, about the fact that the gold from Haiti was used to start Citibank. People don't know that. That's not taught in American history. It's not taught in American history about the brain drain out of Haiti, right? That's the impact of colonialism and imperialism, right? You take the money out, you take the intelligence out, so all is left is poverty, all is left is lack of education, right? The people in power are now controlling, there's few people in power controlling the rest because they have all the resources. And the laymen, they don't know any better because they're not educated. They don't have access to education. So the easiest way to snuff a population, to snuff anyone, is to rip education away. And it's happening today in the States. If they don't know better, they can't do better. They don't know, they can't dream bigger because they don't know what bigger is. So if you don't teach anyone in school about African American history, they won't know and they won't care. They won't have that insight and social and emotional intelligence when they see something happening. They won't know that, oh, this stems from that. They won't know that the current state is a result of the past. So they'll just think, oh, these guys are just savages. They're not smart. They're dumb barbarians. When really the past has a great effect on the present and the future. So the brain drain out of Haiti happened. Doctors, right, who were looking for a better opportunity, the U.S. offered them a better opportunity. So in the 60s and 70s, many Haitian doctors, right, young Haitian people came, to the United States and became doctors. Many of them were successful and retired in the States as doctors, successful doctors, and other professionals, right? So there was a brain drain. The intelligence was gone. But in the meantime, external powers, again, the U.S., other world powers, right, has kept their hands on the throat of Haitians in Haiti. And the people are powerless. So you have elections that are rigged. Presidents get elected that nobody voted for to this day. You have American companies with the assistance of American presidents who shall remain nameless, but who's pretty popular among black Americans. American presidents having a hand in helping major corporations pay Haitians under a living wage. That's facts. That's how you keep a people oppressed. You have a current vice president who is, on one hand, saying, hey, don't be cruel to Mexicans, let them in. And 10 seconds later saying, hey, Haitians, go back to where you came from. This stuff is on record. So it's on and on and on and piling on so that it makes it difficult, right? And I'm just speaking from a sports lens. Obviously, there's way more important things in sports. But I'm just speaking from a sports lens that there's many factors as to why the infrastructure and the finances aren't there for Haiti and Haitians to have capable teams to compete in sports on a global stage. There's athletes there. Plenty of athletes there. They're just not afforded the opportunity because of their circumstances. So anyway, back to the subject at hand. So that's a quick history, right, of why, Haiti is where it is, why Haitian sports as a whole is not up to the standards to where they can compete on a global stage in a World Cup, for example. Even though soccer is a national sport, they're not able to compete on a world stage because of the overwhelming circumstances where, external forces are essentially pounding the country to the pavement. There's special interests outside of the country that pretty much are puppeteers to what's happening within the country. But from the outside looking in, if you don't know what's going on, you just think, oh, these Haitians are dumb. They don't know what they're doing. So for my non-Haitian followers, I would advise you to read your history books, check out a few documentaries, and ask someone who's Haitian about what's really going on before making assumptions and passing judgment. So anyway, growing up in Haiti, I was always into sports, like I said. Diego Maradona, soccer is a national sport, right? I knew nothing about basketball. So we played soccer in school. I remember, in school we played soccer, but we also played what we thought was American football, but it really wasn't. Like I remember like we would play with whatever we could find, right? Rolled up socks, rolled up rubber bands, whatever it is, right? Whatever we could find and turn into a ball, soda bottles, Coca-Cola soda bottles, and essentially how we played was, we were, playing American football, like I said, but we'd be running with the ball in our hands and we knew nothing about first downs, but we were essentially trying to get from one end to the other without getting tackled. But tackled wasn't two-arm tackled, bring them to the ground. It was, I'm going to stick my leg out and trip you tackle. Really dangerous, actually. I mean, the fact that nobody ever broke like their foot or anything like that is ridiculous. But at this point, I'm like probably 5, 6 years old in school. But I remember that. So we played what we thought was American football, but it really wasn't. So when I came to the U.S., it was like a culture shock, right? Everything was a culture shock, right? I remember sitting in class, we would have bathroom breaks in the third grade. I came in the third grade. We would have bathroom breaks, but if, I didn't use the bathroom at that bathroom break, I would have to hold my pee for the whole day because I didn't know how to ask you to use the bathroom. I didn't know the language. So I had to ask my mom, how do I ask you to use the bathroom? So that was a culture shock. But the culture shock in terms of sports, I remember, like me being one of like a few kids in my class, wanting to play soccer at PE. Everybody else was trying to play basketball and football. Again, I had no idea what basketball was. And the football I played wasn't that. We didn't have this oblong shaped football, thinking of coming to America. Oblong shaped ball, throwing spirals. We didn't do all that. So that was a culture shock of me, trying to play, learning how to play football and learning how to play basketball. I was forced to learn that, to be one of the cool kids. Really, to enjoy PE, I had to do that because there was only a few cats playing, soccer. So basketball, football, and eventually kickball and baseball, right, in PE. That's how I eventually became a fan of American sports and quickly fell in love with it. Like we lived in some apartments, so I was, shooting at everything. And eventually I was jumping and trying to touch, everything. Right? Shooting in Winn-Dixie shopping carts. I remember that. So that was the earlier years. But truly, like I said, growing up wasn't that easy as a young Haitian kid in the States. Not just for me, for any Haitian at that time, right? Like, and those prior to me too, like 60s, 70s, 80s, you listen to some of these guys' stories, but especially in the late 80s and early 90s, like stuff was brutal because at this point, Haitians are forced to migrate, right? Whereas before, Haitians were migrating voluntarily. There was some unrest, but it wasn't terrible like it was, late 80s, early 90s, where it was like forced migration. So, people are coming over, that's when the banana boats start coming out. And Haitians are getting made fun of coming on banana boats. So Haitians on banana boats are coming and they're getting sent back. People are dying at sea, but Elian Gonzalez comes from Cuba. It's a whole big deal. Hey, Elian Gonzalez? So the mistreatment of Haitians and the different treatment that Haitians received compared to other immigrants was ridiculous. And a lot of the mistreatment, honestly, happened not by the government, not by other folks, but folks who looked like us, right? Like you want to talk about not all skin folk is kinfolk? That was the definition of it. So African Americans, Jamaicans, other black folks actually were the primary perpetrators of, I would say, crimes against Haitians. So, Haitians were picked on, like I said, the way we dressed, it seemed like everybody thought Haitians didn't know how to dress. We were wearing plaids and, cross colors and this and that. The way Haitians ate was made fun of. What we ate was made fun of, right? Talking about we ate cats. Haitians didn't eat cats. We were made fun of for eating goat. Talking about Haitians eat curry goat. First of all, goat is one of the best meats in the world. I wish at the time I knew how to explain that as a kid to, middle school cats trying to make fun of Haitians eating goats. Like, yo, goat is one of the best meats in the world. Tastiest meats in the world. I don't know what the hell y'all talking about. But second of all, Haitians don't eat curry. That's a Jamaican thing. But it's crazy at this time how ridiculous it was because, you got kids making fun of Haitians for eating curry goat, but Haitians didn't eat curry goat. But again, the folks making fun of us at this time was supposed to be skin folk and kinfolk. But they were clowning us and getting into fights. Ask dudes who grew up in New York, Boston. Like, they were getting into fights every day. Even now you're hearing stories on social media, dudes telling about how, when they were growing up, they had their school had Punch a Haitian Day. So this stuff was happening in mass. Down south, Florida, Miami. My friends, telling me, I went to school without how, they were fighting all the time. Now, lucky for me, even though some dudes try to pick on me, it wasn't egregious because I was decent at sports. So I helped them win games. So they couldn't isolate me as much. Like, I was good at basketball and track and football. So honestly, sports kind of saved me from being picked on too much. But still, some dudes try to clown and stuff like that and had to have other dudes stick up for me and stuff. It's like, no, you can't mess with Mike, because, plus I was smart and these cats, used to cheat off my work. I was their plug. But other dudes didn't have that. So other dudes was fighting all the time. And they had to fight their way through or deal with depression their way through getting picked on. There was no anti-Haitian stance. And by the way, this wasn't just kids in school. This was adults. Adults had negative views of Haitians, right? Thought we had AIDS. Grown people having these misperceptions of Haitians from God knows where, and they just ran with it. And I watched as adult Haitians, in social security offices getting embarrassed because they didn't speak the language, right? And that was the difference between us and other, immigrants, into the United States, is that the Jamaicans, although they were immigrants, but they spoke English, right? They understood English. Haitian kids came over. We were in Esau. We didn't speak English. And we were black. So we weren't fair skinned. We were dark skinned, black. We didn't speak English. Like, everything was against us. Like I said, there was no anti-Haitian, laws. Anti-Haitian hate laws. There was no mental health stuff, counseling, We just had to deal with it. So the young Haitians you see now who are professionals, who have made it out from this environment, that is major props. Because we didn't get coddled. We had to deal with it. Some of us fought. Plenty of cats right now, I'm sure, went to jail for retaliating. Some probably sitting in jail now for retaliating from getting bullied. There was nothing like that. So as the 90s went on and progressed, early 90s, mid 90s, two events I feel like that started changing things that helped us get to where we are now, to where I could wear a Ben Mathurin jersey. One, I talked about retaliation and fights like Miami. And there was, Haitians individually, doing things before that, right? Standing up for themselves. But the biggest thing I feel like was the Zopound down South Miami, South Florida, Miami area, right? The Zopound was essentially now, they considered a gang. But back then, they were just created to protect our people. Right? Because they were tired of the injustices that was being done and nobody was doing anything about it. Nobody cared. These cats were, they're immigrants. They don't even speak the language. So what? They probably got AIDS. They're idiots. So the Zopan was essentially created to protect Haitian kids and people from injustices. So there is plenty of dudes sitting in jail now, unfortunately, because of that retaliation. Because they had to do some things. The Zopan had to body some dudes. like to really put some muscle into it to get some respect down in South Florida. So now, Little Haiti, North Miami, South, like that stuff, Haitians essentially, they're well respected down there now. And the Zopound had, they had a part in Bad Boys too. To everyone's surprise, even though they had some terrible dudes in there with their accents. So that was one. Two, right? And people may not agree with this, but I feel like one of the biggest things in terms of like putting Haitians out there on the map was 1997, I think it was 1997 Grammys. Fugees, right? Fugees had Album of the Year. The Score. Wyclef, Lauren and Praz. The Score. Great album. One of the best albums ever. So the Refugee camp and they win the Grammys Album of the Year in 1997, and Wyclef comes to the Grammys when they're accepting their award. He walks up there with a big old Haitian flag. I think that was an underrated moment that proved to people, right, that Haitians can actually do something great, especially in the entertainment industry, right? Something great, and we're not just monkeys with AIDS. We have potential. Like I said, there were other people out there already doing their thing, right, on TV. There was Garcelle Beauvais on Jamie Foxx show. Others, right? But that moment right there was big. It was symbolic. It was a major event in setting up Haitian notoriety and popularity that, hey, we're talented, we're skilled. We can do things. We're more than just what you assume, what you see on the banana boats and whatever bad news you hear. Because it's all bad news. It's black trauma. So all you hear about Haiti is the bad news. You don't hear the good things. Right? So those were two pivotal moments, I would say. I'm sure there's others would chime in. There's more, but to me, those are two pivotal moments. So now we get to the point where, our food is great. Everybody likes our food now. Ooh, Haitian food. You see people on social media trying Haitian food. Yummy. It's been like that, son. It's been like that. Our music. People dancing to compa now who ain't Haitian. Compa been like that. But now we have rap stars. Kodak. Who knew 30 years ago when we were growing up in that environment that it would be like this? But now we got cats, and pretty popular TV series. We got Jean-Élie and Insecure, acting, and others. So it's on and on and on. And in the last 30 years, just Haitians have gone from being picked on, getting fights, getting beat up every day, having to fight back. Just crazy stuff happening. Like I said, no mental health stuff for us. No assistance from the government, anti-Haitian bills, none of that, right? We literally had to fight our way from the bottom, and now we're here. So back to sports. There's been so many dudes in sports now that it's crazy. Young me wouldn't have imagined this. 6th, 7th grade me, trying out for the basketball team, wouldn't be able to imagine this, even though I had prayed to the Lord. Like I said in a previous episode, I prayed to be 6'6", 220, but I wasn't blessed like that. That prayer wasn't answered. But 6th grade, 7th grade me couldn't imagine where we are now with all these professional athletes in sports. But hey, here we are. So I'd like to give a shout out to these cats making it happen in sports. the young Zoes. In middle school, I had a PE coach who called me the Haitian sensation. So these Haitian sensations who are balling out in sports. I mean, the NBA really, I feel like Olden Polynice was like the first Haitian person I knew in professional sports in the U.S. Olden Polynice, NBA veteran at the time, right, when I started watching basketball. But he was like the only one for a while, as far as I know. And then came Mario Elie with the Houston Rockets winning championships, and then with the Spurs. And then came guys like Sam Dallenberg, played for the Sixers and other teams. In the NFL, you had plenty of dudes come through from South Florida and other places. Jonathan Vilma, parents is Haitian. Pierre Garçon. Pierre Garçon waving his Haitian flag on the screen, after a win. Was it after a Super Bowl or after a playoff win? Walking around with his Haitian flag. Cliff Averill and Marcel Darius. Whitney Merciless, who recently retired. And I just found out, like last year, that one of the best receivers who didn't fulfill his potential, but one of the best receivers in the league for a few years, Josh Gordon, has Haitian heritage. Who knew? Like, who knew? But we have current cats in the NFL, right? So those were the old guys who have retired and gone on. Not in that sense. They've moved on with their lives, right? They're not gone. But the current players, right? Jason Pierre-Paul, JPP. Kevin Pierre-Louis. Giovanni Bernard. Sonny Michel. Jerry Jeudy, one of the nice young receivers in the league. Louis Cine, a hitter with the Minnesota Vikings, safety. Nicolas Petitfrère. It's crazy because anytime, I'm watching TV and I'm watching the games and I hear these guys and I'm like, man, it's like they're Haitian. I can imagine the Nigerians feel the same way when they hear these guys with their Nigerian names. Like, yeah, Niger. They're proud. It's a proud moment. For us who grew up in that environment back then, it's a proud moment hearing these cats balling out in professional sports and doing their thing. I mean, at this point, and there's plenty more Haitians in the NFL. Like I don't have time to name everybody. I mean, but at this point, the NFL might as well have like a Haitian Heritage Month. They're gonna need it. There's so many dudes. Like Jonathan Vilma was a baller, standout. Josh Gordon, obviously. Pierre Garçon was a baller, caught many touchdown passes. Cliff Averill helped the Seahawks win a lot of games, rushing the passer. Marcel Darius, one of the best defensive tackles. Like, these guys weren't like, they were ballers. Whitney Merciless was a standout pass rusher. We know JPP, what he does. Gio, Bernard, reliable. Sonny Michel, helping the Patriots win championships. I already talked about Jerry Jeudy. Kirby Joseph is up and coming. Louis Cine is a youngster. Nicolas Petitfrère is a tackle for the Titans. That's ridiculous. That's a long list. Now in the NBA, right? I already talked about Olden Polynice. I talk about Mario Elie. The young guys, the new guys, current players, right? Skal Labissière. Skal Labissière, for those who don't know, essentially escaped the earthquake in 2010. From what I read, this guy was inside the house and his house crumbled on top of him. He was pinned. His leg was pinned under the debris for like several hours until they came and got him. He eventually, came to the U.S. and like this guy is a miracle, walking miracle. But he played in the NBA, went to Kentucky, got drafted, played in the NBA a few years. He's now in the G League, working his way back up. But major props to Skal for overcoming. Nerlens Noel, number 2 overall pick for the Sixers. But man, the man whose jersey I'm wearing today, um, Ben Mathurin Benedict. This kid has so much potential. I watch him play quite a bit. Obviously, I'm highly invested. He has so much potential, a gifted scorer, perfect build, strong, shifty, can shoot, score. This cat keeps his head in the game. Sky's the limit. 6'5", 210. I was reading that his sister plays ball at NC State. She's got great bloodline, I guess. Who knew? But the fact that 30 years later, a generation essentially later, we got so many young Haitian kids in professional sports is amazing to me. Like I said, I couldn't imagine that. Naomi Osaka, who could forget Naomi Osaka in tennis? Her pops is Haitian. And every time she makes it a point to point out that she's Haitian, her dad is Haitian, and she's gone back to Haiti multiple times. Has a foundation, I think, there. My young, gifted tennis player. Who knew? But if you ask Haitians, we'll say, we knew. If these external governments would get their foots off of the people's necks, you would see us on the world stage, and we wouldn't just be coming to the NFL and you would hear about Haitians and like you talk about Messi in them. But we don't have the infrastructure to get kids from the slums of Haiti into the Euro leagues. Right? Because a lot of these Argentinian kids and Brazilian kids, they're growing up in slums too, but somehow they have a funnel, they have a process to get these kids out of there. Haiti doesn't. But really, as I bring this thing to a close, it goes beyond sports, man. I just want to give a shout out to, all the dudes, the young ladies who survived, the years of bullying and getting picked on in fights, and who didn't lose their cool, who kept their eyes on the prize. I mean, till this day, I'm watching on Twitter or something like that. There's this young lady, she got picked on because, she couldn't speak English. I guess she, recently came from Haiti, or, a few years ago back, came from Haiti, and she couldn't speak English. She was getting picked on by her classmates. And she graduated valedictorian. Got like 20 scholarships or something like that, or 20, accepted to 20 schools, 20 universities. So it goes beyond, the talent goes beyond sports, man. Our people are excellent. The world just doesn't know it yet. They're getting to know it now. And sports is just one way. But I want to give a shout out to the Haitian kids who grew up in that environment, who overcame that environment, who are now professionals and doctors, of course, nurses, and engineers. That's essentially the careers, that you could have been as a Haitian kid growing up. In your parents' eyes, you were either going to be a doctor, a lawyer, a nurse, maybe an engineer. But for those who made it into sports, man, I don't know how y'all did it. We got cats covering sports teams now, right? For ESPN. I follow a couple of them on Twitter. DJ Bien-Aimé, Marcel Louis-Jacques. These guys do a really good job. They're not biased. They're not, throwing out hot takes. Like just talented people in the workplace. So that's who we are. And I wanted to use this time to give us a shout out. Again, don't blame me. The NBA store took forever to get my jersey here. Like literally this jersey, The mock-up, if you go to the NBA store for the Pacers, the mock-up for this jersey is 0-0. But they don't have Benedict Mathurin, who's one of the best players on the team. They don't have that jersey in stock. You have to get it custom made. Now I'm asking you, NBA store, that jersey should not be custom made. It should be in stock all the time. And to slap the guy's name on the back of the jersey, it takes them a month to get it to me? I'm sorry, I had a pause right there. I had a sidebar of that. No, but seriously, to all the young Zoes who have come this far, who have overcome, we don't get the benefit of the doubt. You know, very few shortcuts to be had. We literally had to get it out the mud. We had to overcome not being able to speak English, getting picked on, bullied, our parents not understanding everything. Parents couldn't really help us with homework because they didn't speak the language. Being put in ESOL, right? Some people got put in remedial classes because, hey, they thought you were dumb just because you didn't speak the language. Thank God my third grade teacher, even though I wasn't good at English, didn't keep me back because I was good at math. So I stayed on the track. But I clearly remember getting plenty of E's. I got to fourth grade, getting E's in fifth grade, E's in reading comprehension. I remember that. But we overcame that. So to the young dudes out there who feel pressured to succumb to their environment, right? Still growing up in the jungle of South Florida, Opelika and Miami, Liberty City. You feel stuck and trapped. You're in Pine Hills. You're still in Brooklyn, Bushwick. You're still in Boston. On and on. You feel trapped in the hood. There's a way out. There's a light at the end of the tunnel, y'all. Don't let anyone tell you or make you feel like you can't achieve greatness because you have an accent. Because you don't speak English as well. I'm telling y'all, I remember not knowing how to ask to go to the bathroom. I remember that. Don't let anyone tell you you can't be great. And don't let dudes, your friends, without a vision, ruin your dreams. Just because they can't see the future, they can't imagine the greatness, don't let them hold you back from achieving your greatness. Your parents didn't leave Haiti. Your grandparents didn't leave Haiti. They didn't come here to work odd jobs, leaving the comfort of their home country, working odd jobs, getting picked on, getting embarrassed on the job because they don't speak English, working 2-3 jobs, terrible environments. They didn't do that for you to come here and not give your best and to succeed and to make them proud. So your best is the minimum. Because these cats put up with a lot. Blood, sweat, and tears for us to be where we are today. So shout out to the Zoes. Shout out to Ben Mathurin and Jerry Judy, these young boys. Y'all making us proud, man. Y'all making me proud. All right. Appreciate y'all listening. History lesson / gratitude from a young Haitian kid. I'm going to catch y'all next time. Mike Philman, Sports in the Real Shit.
going straight
Peace.
to the top. Just put the stack on the clock. I am Rihanna's a shot. I'm going straight to the top.